Hi everybody, my name is Julia. I'm a biological science student at the University of Guelph, and welcome to Ask An Alumni. All right, we're gonna introduce ourselves first, so.
I'm Anna. I'm from the behavioral sciences or behavioral psych at Seneca, and that's an honors bachelor program.
Hey guys, I'm Devin. I am at the University of Windsor. I just finished my first year and I am in the business or commerce section.
Hi, my name is Olena and I go to the University of Ottawa for biopharmaceutical science, also an honors program. And yeah, I just finished first year.
Awesome.
Okay, so we have some frequently asked questions, I guess, that we're gonna take turns answering. So the first question is, are there any jobs on campus available for students?
So I know that at my school, there is an alumni call center. I work there. A lot of fun, highly recommend it if you're a very chatty person and you like making connections with people who graduated from your school. They give out a lot of tips too, so that's really handy. There are lots of jobs in residence that you can apply for. I have one coming up next year. You don't have to live in residence for your second year if that's something that interests you as well. This is actually my new home. I don't live in residence, but I still work with residents, which is really nice. There's a work-study program at Guelph if you're interested in working on campus at like running restaurants like Subway or the Bull Ring, which is a big spot at Guelph if you're familiar with the campus. And all you need to do to get into that program is apply for OSAP, which is something that you should be doing already if you're in grade 12. I highly recommend. So there are lots of job opportunities, lots of volunteer opportunities, and ways to make money.
Yeah, and so in addition to things like RAs or being a Don, every university calls it something else. There are other opportunities in the food service areas, so a lot of them involve serving or cleaning dishes, tables, whatever. There's also other stuff in athletics, so some things involve calling out and giving donations, but it's all based on the university. It's pretty wide. There's a lot of volunteer stuff, especially there's like career days or fair days or something where everyone comes together and there's lots of tables and you see everything that university offers. If you get the chance to, if they even offer it right now, it probably won't happen due to the whole situation right now with COVID. But a lot of them do have big fair days and they go around. You can see all the different places. If you happen to be, not a grade 12 student, if you're grade 11 seeing this, you probably can go see that next year. If not, on their website, a lot of them have a lot of the lists of the different things they offer, whether it be clubs or, councils or whatnot. A lot of the schools do list stuff they have that are affiliated with the university.
Mm-hmm. Seneca pretty much, for the most part, is the same as you guys have answered. We also have the Student Federation, so that's students working for other students. So if you need any advisory on things or they plan events, they also, I believe it's a paid job, but they have some volunteer opportunities too. And for the most part in the service industry, caretaking of the campuses, that's also a student job.
Yeah, in Ottawa there's pretty much the same thing you guys said. A lot of jobs in residence. Also just a few residence buildings have a main secretary area where you can answer phone calls, help people out with moving in and out and stuff like that. A lot of food service jobs. But I don't know about other universities, but for me, I didn't find a job on campus. I found a job a little bit off campus, and I don't know what it's like for other universities, but in Ottawa there are a lot of businesses around campus that are also open to hiring students and stuff like that. So also a pretty good option if you don't find a job directly on campus. Okay, so now we have our next question. Next question is, what are the best and worst things about uni in your opinion?
So for me, I love the social aspect. I find that, especially with my university, we have a bit of a smaller campus. So that means that we have a lot more, connection to be made, at least on the university campus. I find that if you're going into your first year, a lot of you guys have already chosen to go into residence, but it's awesome for the first year, especially before you meet actual people. RAs and Dons and everything set a lot of stuff up for you guys, so you guys really are bound to have a great time wherever you go. But I love the social aspect of university. A negative of university, I'd say it's not like anything you guys have experienced yet. You definitely got to manage yourself. You got to make sure you take care of yourself, whether that mean cleaning up after yourself, cleaning rooms, cleaning common areas, making sure you plan meals. Depends where you guys go. If you guys end up at a university where you guys have a full meal plan, or if you need to go and get groceries, it's another thing to think about when you need to, plan those meal runs or whatever else you need to do in your spare time. Laundry, make sure you know how to do laundry before you go there. I'm sure a lot of you have done it, but get a rundown. Some universities have signs on the walls, but it's great to go in and actually know what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, just on that laundry note, it's important to know whether you have to pay for laundry too in your residence. Just recently, the building that I was in, it's 50 years old, over 50 years old actually. It's an older building, but the laundry machines were once pay per use. So it was once like you had to put in a quarter every time you did a wash, but they recently changed it to be included in your residence fee, so you can do as many loads of laundry as you want without having to actually pay. But that is a really important question to ask, because then to bring like quarter rolls so that you can do laundry. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed. I think for me, I'm going to kind of cheat and say that there are two greatest things about university, or at least my university. I really love my program, especially biological science is very general, so it's very forgiving if you want to do something like a minor or a double major or whatever, which is great if you want to go into future things or you don't know what you want to do yet, like me, and you want to explore. There's also a really great human anatomy program at Guelph. It's unlike anything else. That's why if you're an SHSM in the health and wellness field, you can take a trip up to Guelph and see the human anatomy lab here. It's amazing, way better than any other school that I've ever seen, and I've seen a few. And I also wanted to say that I'm going to play off of Devin's point as well. The community aspect really, really is amazing. Guelph has an open house every year. It's called College Royal. Didn't run this year because of events in the world, but every other year they've run it. It's 96 years strong. It's the biggest university open house in North America. There's nothing else like it. So I highly encourage you to check it out if you ever get the chance. And that's a really, really great way for you to see what university is like and what the students are like here. They're so excited to talk to you about their programs and run activities for kids. And even if they're just sitting and like coloring with a 5-year-old, they're still so into it. So the people here are amazing. I really, really love the community. I think the worst thing about university, and I think that a lot of you guys can agree, is having to pay for it. I don't like doing that. Not a lot of fun, very expensive. But I think, as we mentioned before, it's not hard to get a job on campus. It's not hard to find jobs that you love and jobs that will get you work experience that will also help pay for your school. So that's really convenient. They do try their best to kind of help you out on that front.
So for me, the best thing from from college university, because I go to Seneca. We're in the middle of nowhere, so that's kind of a positive and a negative. The commute is horrible. I don't like it, but it's in the middle of nowhere, so everyone's kind of close together and everything. So all your friends are there. Nobody really goes outside of the campus, at least at King. So you have all the courses there, all the classes there. So just one campus, 2 buildings. So you don't really have to run around much. And if not, they'll give you like an online course if they know they don't want you going all the way to like York or something for like a 3-hour class and then coming back in the middle of the night. Like, it's not fun. Honestly, I'm going into my 3rd year now. There isn't that many other negatives. Like, I've learned to live with them. Whatever I was like not liking in first year is kind of like, oh, it is what it is now. But the only thing is I have a small program, so I only have 1 class per section, and we only have like 1 section. So I don't have any like leeway with my schedule. But that's about it. Everything else is pretty good.
I had one more thing in here before. Just in terms of people going into residence buildings, this was a big thing for me when I came in. I had chose one of the halls that had shared bathroom and a roommate in the room as you. And there are other buildings that either also have that or are like either shared or like apartment style where you don't have the same person. I think it's really good because right now it's still possible to change which residence building you would be at, especially because you're probably not going to be able to go in the fall semester, to talk to some of the people in those residence buildings or ask to talk to them or find someone in the university or ask one of us if we happen to be, familiar of that. A lot of the ones, some of them have very different lifestyles. For example, we have 3 buildings at my university, Cartier, McDonald Hall, and Alumni. In my building, it was very open. Everyone communicated. You kind of had a lot of conversations between people with different floors, and you knew all your neighbors, people downstairs, nice common area, whatever. But at the other building, at our Alumni Hall, it was it looked more like a hotel style. So you didn't really get as much communication with people. The common areas weren't as big. There might not have been as much community. So it depends what you like. A lot of universities have kind of a diversification of residence buildings. So if you are a bit more of an introvert and prefer to have a bit of a quieter living space, you might want to be able to be in one of those quieter buildings. Or if you want to be a bit more social, a little bit more involved with the community, find one of the buildings that are a little bit more social. It's a little bit different at each university, but I find a lot of this a lot of the time this does hold true at a lot of different universities.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, me too. That's a really good point. It's also just good to go. I mean, depending on which universities you're picking, just to go on their website. A lot of them have. I know, just speaking from my personal experience, when I was my residences, also compare prices because those are different. And at U Ottawa, some residences had a meal plan that was mandatory, and some residences had optional. So for me, it was important to have the meal plan optional because I didn't want it. So I had to. That sort of narrowed down my choices for residence when it came to picking them. But yeah, that's a really good point. So it is really good to compare those. I guess to answer that question, there are a lot of positives to university. I thought that it was overall a good experience for my first year. I really enjoyed a lot of my courses, especially the ones that were specific to my program. Not that there was only pretty much one course, but it really kind of helped me realize that I had made sort of the right decision. I mean, so far. So that was nice. I really liked, I just really liked my courses. And yeah, I think another thing that I liked just overall is the city. It was really nice, especially for people who like to go outside. I biked around a lot when I had the chance, and I got my bike stolen. That was another thing. Probably not a good thing in Ottawa, but it's a really nice place, especially with Parliament and just all around a very pretty city. So I guess that's the positive. Negatives, I guess this goes with the whole residence thing. It really, for me, I didn't have a roommate in the same room as me, but she was a neighbor and I had to share my bathroom with her. It was kind of random. I don't think unless you knew the person, you could really pick who you wanted. You could fill out a survey based on your sleeping habits and, the type of personality or the type of person you are. But, it's not necessarily guaranteed that you get a person that you're necessarily going to get along with. I didn't really talk to my roommates that much. And, I would have liked to, just because, it's kind of hard in the beginning to make friends if you don't really have anyone coming to the same university as you. But yeah, it wasn't really a negative. It was just, For the first couple of months, it was a little awkward, and depending on your situation, you kind of had to work out all the cleaning and sort of kinks of that. But I mean, it all worked out in the end, so it wasn't necessarily a negative. It was just something that you had to overcome and sort of really talk to people that you didn't really feel comfortable talking to. But overall, yeah, just getting used to being alone. It was a little tough in the beginning, but it's something that you really get used to pretty quickly, just because you have to. Um, how have you found your courses or your program so far? And what are the teaching faculties, support, and field trips like?
So I'll go first. My program's very repetitive because it is a honors program, so we get certified at the end for BCBA, so like a behavior analyst or assistant behavior analyst. So it has to be really repetitive. So for the past 4 semesters now, it's been the same thing, but it kind of slowly added on to it. So it's kind of been nice because then your grades are really good, but you kind of get bored. But our faculty are very understanding. We have a student team that like speaks for us. So if we have concerns, like if this is like the same class over again, they're gonna talk to them. So they're kind of rewriting our program right now to just to not kill us with boredom, because for the most part everyone's doing pretty okay. They kind of want to challenge us a little bit. But our faculty is really good. You can go to them about anything. Feel like your grade wasn't where it's supposed to be, you go to them. If not, you go to Student Federation, they take that up with you. And they're really understanding. Like if you know your professor well, because at least my program, but Seneca in general at my campus, you really like get to know your professors one-on-one, and they work in the field. So if you know your professor, they can hire you for the summer term or in between your semesters. So it's pretty good if you want a job right out of the bat.
Okay, awesome. As for my program, I've loved it so far. Most of it is pretty general in your first year, especially in most business programs. I can say that holds true. My business program specifically, you complete a general set of courses, and in your third year, you are able to specialize in one of, I believe, 5 subject areas, like accounting, HR, finance, so on and so forth. One little tip I would give is every university has, better and worse professors. It's just a fact. They may not be bad professors. They're definitely still probably great at what they, can teach. But some people learn better with some profs. So I would definitely, it's a little tip that I used when I was going into school, is I used the website Rate My Prof, and I looked up all of my professors before I enrolled in their classes. So I knew exactly what they were like, exactly what their homework was, whether or not you needed a textbook for the course. All of that information is provided on that website, and then it's hundreds of people that have already taken that class that knew the professor and give their honest feedback. It's not associated with the university at all. You don't have to worry that it's a fake review. They're all real people giving reviews of how they honestly felt the course. So it's one of those little tricks that you can use to hopefully have a better experience at whatever school you're in, whatever program.
Yeah, I would say that that's a really, really, really helpful tip. And I mean, on the note of textbooks, something that I did that was really, I kind of paid off, but it also kind of didn't. I panicked and I was like, I need all of my textbooks for the first day of class because I will be so behind otherwise. Probably don't do that. And the reason why I say that is because you might end up saving a few bucks, because sometimes you get professors who don't use a textbook at all. I know that sounds stupid, but it's true. And you end up paying like $90 for a textbook that just kind of sits in your room, and it's usually not even that pretty. So you kind of have to wait for the first lecture for them to tell you whether you need the textbook or not. And if it's absolutely mandatory, then absolutely go get it. One thing that Wealth does that's really great, and I feel like I should mention, is there's a bookstore on campus where you can order your books beforehand, and you can get like used copies. It's called the Co-op Bookstore. You have to pay a bit extra for like a membership fee. It's like $15 or something like that. But the amount that you get back is definitely worth paying a membership fee. Otherwise, you can go on like there's Facebook groups. I'm sure that this exists for like other schools as well. But there's like textbook swap, stuff like that, where you can get textbooks from previous years. I don't know how that's going to work with COVID, but you take your chances, you might get a deal. Lysol at first, maybe. But there's the opportunity to get new, there's an opportunity to get used. It depends on where your price range is. Sometimes, this is totally off topic, I know I'm not answering the question, but sometimes you can get meal plan dollars or a flex plan on your meal card so that you can just swipe your card and then it takes money off, and you can get a textbook plan that has more money on it so you can have textbooks and not eat up your meal supply or your food. So that's really convenient as well. I forgot the question. Do you mind mentioning it one more time? I'm sorry.
Actually, just one second. I'm just gonna add one thing about the textbooks.
Yes.
If it comes down to it that you're super stuck and you need to buy, my school does my bookstore. If you go on Amazon, or if you look online, if you go on Amazon.com or whatever, and you find the same book that is fulfilled by Amazon, if it says shipped by Amazon right there and it's lower price, most university bookstores will match that price. You won't have a problem with that. It just saves you the shipping time and whatever off the top. So it's just one thing I use. I saved a lot of money on my second semester doing that.
I'm also going to add a little bit to the textbook thing. So I was kind of oblivious to my first year to the textbook situation. So I found out like the first week they were supposed to get textbooks, so I also panicked and bought them all. I didn't end up using any of them, and I still have them. So I spent close to $400 on textbooks that I only use for citing things, just to meet the citation count. So I found that none of my professors use any of their textbooks, so I stopped buying textbooks. Unless it's like really mandatory, then I would suggest, if you're tight for money, rent it with a friend. Because
that's smart.
me and like 3 friends rented one together that ended up being like $10 each for the whole semester, and we just kind of send pictures if need be. And that's only for like, it was like for ethics, and we needed it for a project. Another one is also probably your library has one on hand too. I know with Seneca you can rent it online and they put it aside for you. So if you have an open book exam you have to use it for, you can always do that as well and just bring it in for that one day if you're strapped for money. And you can also see if the people ahead of you in years have their textbooks still. I know a lot of ours advertise theirs because they're not going to use it anymore. So yeah, if you're coming into Seneca first year, let me know if you need textbooks, because I still have mine. But yeah, it's always good to see what you can do for textbooks. Usually buying them new is not the best.
Yeah.
Although they make it sound the best. They're really expensive.
Just want your money. Don't fall for it. Okay, Olena.
It's rap, guys. It's rap.
Yeah,
Sorry,
pretty
Olena.
much.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, we have the same thing. We have the Facebook groups at Ottawa, and we also have a bookstore. But yeah, also at one point I ended up buying a textbook that was fully online for free. So just take a shot in the dark sometimes. Sometimes, you get lucky and it's online and you didn't have to pay for it. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of second year students end up selling their textbooks, hopefully for not more than they bought them for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can usually tell kind of decent prices for textbooks. You probably don't pay anything above $80 or $90 for a textbook. It's not worth it. Probably just keep it in. They're not going to be any cheaper than probably $50 or $60. But sometimes, yeah. There's a few textbooks I didn't open the whole semester, and I still have, and it's not worth it. So yeah, but the question was, how have you found your program so far, and what are the teaching faculties /support/field trips like?
Got you. Okay, so into my brain now. I really like my program, as I mentioned before, one of my favorite parts of the school. But one thing that I wanted to say was, because I'm in a bachelor's of science, everybody who's in a bachelor's of science program at Guelph has the first 4 So there are 5 courses in each semester, but 4 of them are mandatory for BSc majors both semesters. So there are 8 mandatory courses that you have to take for all BSc majors, whether you're in biological science, biomedical science, biochemistry, whatever, you all have to take the same 8, which is helpful because it makes sharing textbooks and stuff really easy, especially if residence happens. But it also makes it really easy to switch majors. So let's say that you got in for biological science, but you want to switch into biomedical science. You can do that because you have the same prereq courses and it doesn't matter. And the universities understand that kids are coming into university at 17 and they don't really know what they're doing and they don't really know what they're picking and what they're bargaining for. So they make it easy to switch if you do end up wanting to do that. I know that Guelph is good with that, and a McMaster, a lot of programs like life science, I can't think of any others, but if you go in for like not an entry level program, then you can switch around pretty easy. Some universities, I also want to say, like McMaster, you take your first year and then you apply to get into your major. So when you start, you don't actually know what you're graduating with. Like, you know that you're graduating with like a BSc honors, but you don't know what the specialty is in. You don't know if it's like life science, biochem, whatever. At Guelph, it's different. You know, I know that I'm graduating with biological science, and that's it. So look into that as well if you're still picking your school. I know that there's only like 9 days left for you to actually do that. I guess 10. Math is never my strong suit. But you still should look into that if you are kind of flip-flopping between things and how easy it is to switch between programs. On the professor front, I would say something that I didn't do that I wish I did was talk to my professors more, especially in the science field. I think that that's super important because there's a lot of opportunities to, like Anna said, get hired for things like in a lab if you're interested in lab work, or going out in the field and actually doing like research if you're in wildlife biology or something like that. They have the resources to get those opportunities for you. So if you get in touch with them and you're a face that they remember, that's really great for you later on, especially if your program doesn't have co-op like mine, and like a lot of BSc programs at Guelph actually. So that's super, super helpful. Talk to your professors.
Just to add to your professor thing, it's also really good if they know your name, if they're going to boost your mark. So if you're a face they don't know, they're not necessarily going to give you that 0.5 you need to get to 80. Like if you're at a 79.5, they're not going to boost you to an 80, so that way your average is higher. Yeah, plus they're a good reference, if anything. A lot of, at least in my program, they do a lot of research with behavior, and they're always looking for research assistants. So if you had them for a semester and they know your work, they're going to hire you. Like, you just have to go and ask them. Plus, they already know what you're like, so it just kind of fast tracks you to their number one choice, if anything.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, you guys mentioned all the pretty similar points. For me, yeah, I mentioned in the last question how I enjoy my program, and I think the thing I want to touch on is enrolling in courses, checking who your profs are, and asking people. I had I was fortunate enough to know people who were in second year at U Ottawa that also went to Sacred Heart, so I could ask, because a lot of the first year profs are usually the same every single year for courses like for bio and chem and stuff like that. So it was good to ask and see how the profs were, what their exams were like and stuff like that. It's always good to know, just because it's reassuring that you're not walking into a class that you're gonna fail. But yeah, I think it's good to look at your program and what options you have, because just because you're going into first year for a specific program, you're not necessarily going to love it. So there's always that possibility where you can switch programs or you can do something else. So it's always good to check prerequisites, like Julia said, of other programs. I know at U Ottawa, when we go into, I guess all other universities have this, but it's kind of like a portal where you get to enroll in your courses and stuff like that. they have an advisement report for your program. So it says how many course units you need to graduate and how many course units are recommended to be in each semester. It's good to like see the courses you can take to fulfill every criteria you need. And if you compare between other programs, you can definitely see how you can switch or make some changes. But I think all universities have this again, but they have academic advisors. They have a lot of information online. So, if you have any questions about that, they have like pretty much a help center and an office where you can go in, ask to do that stuff. Also, switching courses, maybe you have a conflict, or maybe, you want to work at a specific time of day, you can also always switch sections of your lab or of your lecture or of your, I guess we have like discussion groups, so that it's more, I guess, easy for you. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good thing. I guess just familiarize yourself, is that a word, with all that's going on when it comes to your courses and stuff like that. I think it's good to have that. But yeah, I wanted to touch on the field trips part, because for my bio class, my very first bio, like in the fall semester, we had a field trip to go to a conservation area. So our whole like lab section just went to this conservation area, and it was pretty cool. Like we looked at leaves and stuff. It was a pretty easy, obviously we had a lab to go with it, but it was pretty fun to we went on a school bus. It brought back a lot of memories. So, I mean, if you come to U Ottawa, you get to do that. But yeah, that was just pretty cool. I wasn't expecting a field trip in university, but it was a pretty cool one. So, yeah.
So we are going to run out of time on our Zoom call. So we can't, the last question was just about the environment. Funny how I can remember this question, but not the last one, of our university and like how it is. We talked a little bit about that, but if you do want to know more information about other things that we didn't talk about, or you have questions about stuff that we did talk about, there will be a little story post on Humans of Sacred that has our emails and our schools on them. So feel free to reach out to us. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them about our schools or programs or whatever. We're here to help you, and we know that you guys are going through right now. I can't imagine what it would be like being, I know I have one in my house, I have a brother who goes to Sacred, but it's gotta be crazy being a student in high school and during this time. So thank you guys for kind of tuning in, and good luck.
Bye, guys.